Hello.
Did it work? Interesting. It works every time. Um,
So we are live.
hello. Hello. Good.
Yeah,
Ready?
I'm good. I'm ready.
And welcome back to another episode of the Ball Watchers podcast. I am your host, Evan Bloost, alongside my co-host, Joseph Muto. Joseph, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. It was a good week of football this week. Lots of great games from Thursday to Monday. I mean, there were some thrillers. So we're going to dive into everything this week. We've got our week two recap, week three preview. I mean, we're already 2 weeks, into the NFL season. Can't believe it, Joseph.
Wow,
Amazing stuff.
it's a blessing.
I know. I love it. I mean, I just love being able to sit on my couch, watch football for hours and hours on Sunday. I mean, it's just what gets better than that during your week, honestly. So, we're going to go through everything today. We're going to start off here with the Packers and the Commanders. They played on Thursday, and the score doesn't really tell the whole story of this game. I mean, this was a game that ended 27-18, but the Packers really controlled the game the entire way.
Yeah, these Packers are a complete football team, and you knew that going into week one after beating the Lions. And now that you finish week two and you beat the Commanders in a surprisingly big time fashion way, it's incredible. I think Jordan Love is just, like I said last week, putting the narrative of needing an alpha wide receiver to bed. Like, he doesn't need an alpha wide receiver. Everyone thought who was it going to be between Matthew Golden and Jane Reed. Now it's between Romeo Dobbs and Tucker Kraft, and I think that's a really big time storyline, and it just speaks to who Jordan Love is as a quarterback and how he can manipulate the field so that anyone, even Dontavian Wicks, can get involved into this offense. So on Thursday, it was Tucker Kraft. He was playing in a big time way. I think he had 125 yards on 6 receptions. So big time play after big time play with a touchdown in there as well. And then Romeo Dobbs just looked unbelievable, getting another touchdown in this game as well. So it's just like using your weapons effectively. And I think Jordan Love is doing that early and effective. And then they use Josh Jacobs again in the rushing category. Only 80 yards again this game. He didn't have a dominant game, but he gets that touchdown, making his streak, I think, 9 games in a row where he's had a touchdown, which is an incredible feat for him. So this offense is just clicking. They have a great offense. Matt LaFleur cooks up a great offense. And then I think defensively, they really took away the check downs from Jaden Daniels. And I think that's where they won. Jane Daniels loves to check the football down. Cliff Kingsbury makes this offense really simple for Jane Daniels, and that's where he finds his success. But they couldn't run the football. Austin Eckler goes out with a season-ending injury in this game. They had no, offensive flow, specifically rushing the football. So it was just check down after check down. Terry McLaurin was getting his hit as soon as he caught the ball. There was nowhere for Jane Daniels to go with the football. So when you take the short game away from the Commanders, which is their only reliable source of offense, is what they're showing me, then you can easily beat this team. So this is a susceptible Commanders team, but they got pressure in the quarterback's face. They did with Jane Daniels. They blanketed the short and intermediate routes effectively and often. And this Packers team just looks so good on all levels of the football.
Right. And you're seeing kind of what we talked about a bit in the offseason with the Commanders here is just they do not have depth anywhere on that team to really get the football down the field, especially like they couldn't really run the ball in this game. Like all credit to the Packers defense. They were fantastic in this game, but like the Commanders is just it's just so concerning. I think this is exactly what we were talking about before the season. Is just they do not have the weapons around Jaden Daniels to really compete because like Debo Samuel has not changed the game enough to be like he's not really a deep threat. You need another like true number two wide receiver. I think them losing De'Ami Brown in the offseason was huge. Like he was great for them last season as that number two wide receiver, and he's not necessarily like a high level number two wide receiver, but they just didn't really like Debo Samuel's not a replacement for that kind of guy. He's much more of a gadget player. You have to design plays for him to really be effective. So I just think that you're seeing the help around Jane Daniels break down. They couldn't run the football today. And then defensively, like same thing. They just don't have the guys. Like the Packers were really able to push him around. Jordan Love had tons of time in the pocket. I mean, the Packers did a good job kind of shooting themselves in the foot at a lot of time or moments in this game, which kept it close. And I mean, the Commanders score a kind of a garbage time touchdown to get it to that 9 point finish. But I mean, this was really like the Commanders were never in control of this game. The Commanders were always just scrambling, coming from behind, and the Packers just were completely out in front. And they like I said, they made some mistakes. I think Jordan Love threw an interception, and they made some mistakes that ended up with this game being a lot closer than it should have been. But like, I mean, I loved what you said about Tucker Kraft. I mean, he was uncoverable in this game, and I saw someone breaking down the film where I mean, Frankie Louvu just completely keys in on the rush and misses Tucker and just doesn't cover Tucker Kraft wide open for the touchdown. Like they just exploited the weaknesses of the Commanders perfectly, and this Packers team is rolling. And I mean, you got to worry about the Commanders. I don't know, they're really not at the level they were last year. I think that, I mean, you didn't expect them to play the way they did last year against those high level competition, like high level teams, and they just did not live up to that at all in this game. Not to mention the fact that Jane Daniels has a PCL injury and is going to be hobbled or miss some time the next few weeks, which I really don't see how the Commanders can overcome.
Yeah, relying on one player for your entire organization is a bit ridiculous to me. We're
Mm-hmm.
seeing it with Mahomes, who we'll talk about later, but you need to surround him with good competition. But for the Packers, I mean, that you can't stop him. Like Frankie Louvu should absolutely stop the run because of the year that Josh Jacobs had last year. I don't know a team like who has an elite running back and an elite quarterback. It's the Ravens, it's the Eagles, and the Packers. And outside of that, I can't really name a whole lot
Well,
of other teams
I
like
think
that.
there's levels,
Yeah,
I
there
will
are
say.
levels. Yeah, definitely. But like the level of Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love, like they're in that hierarchy of like the top tier to me. If Jordan Love can continue what he's doing this year, so it's incredible what they're doing. Yeah.
Right. And I think the biggest thing is the Packers, I think, the last couple years too have been so much reliant on how Jordan Love plays, and they live and die by Jordan Love. And I just don't think that that is the way that this Packers team is built these days. Like, I don't think Jordan Love had an incredible game by any means. Like, it was pretty like standard, whatever. Like, he didn't necessarily make any like really boneheaded mistakes or anything, but like they do not like Jordan Love had to play like perfect football for the Packers to win games the last couple of seasons, and you just don't see that. They can rely on that defense. They can rely on that run game. They have weapons. I mean, honestly, the Packers too, like Matthew Golden, they missed over the top a couple times too. He was open. Like they had the chance to run up the score a bit as well. So I mean, I really just this Packers team is balanced. They finally have a defense with some juice who can actually like physically out dominate their opponents. So I really like what I saw from the Packers. I'm high on them going forwards, and the Commanders. I mean, I don't know, man. It feels good to be right sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. The Ball Watchers Bowl was this weekend, and Joseph, unfortunately, your Steelers
Wow.
lost. It's a bit of a weird game, honestly. I don't know. I just like, I mean, the Seahawks made some really boneheaded plays, and the Steelers made some really boneheaded plays. In the end, the Seahawks come out on top. But I mean, I can't really say that you feel promise from either team coming out of this game or learned a ton, honestly.
No, I think these teams are yet again middle of the
Yep,
road, and they will be maybe until for the
the
entirety
entire
of the Ball
yeah.
Watchers podcast. Who knows? We'll just be talking about the mediocrity of both these teams. But let me start with the Steelers here. I was very upset. The only guy I really liked seeing in this game was Aaron Rodgers. I thought he had a pretty good game with the resources that he was given. I thought he was throwing on the run really effectively. I thought he has that cannon still. It's just like his wide receivers are A, dropping the ball. That drop by Fryermuth on that ridiculous throw by Aaron Rodgers is unacceptable.
Mhm.
Calvin Austin, an easy drop that turns into an interception in the red zone is inexcusable, especially when Aaron Rodgers is trusting you to be maybe even your number one wide receiver, because after last week against the Jets and how he trusts Calvin Austin, and this week getting more targets than DK Metcalf, you have to be that alpha. And so Aaron Rodgers was looking good, but his offensive line never protected him once this game. The running the rushing attack, I mean, Arthur Smith cannot get this run game going. I don't know what it is. They're not giving the ball to Caleb Johnson. They hate Caleb Johnson apparently, and I mean, that was a boneheaded move on that kickoff, but I mean, that's just a guy not knowing the rules. And the new rules are over the last 2 years that's a touchdown. Whether you touch it or whether you don't touch it, it can't go in the landing zone and then go
It
into the
also
end
is the
zone.
rules before,
Yeah,
to be clear. That hasn't changed.
really?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, that's where I get confused too. Actually, this is because I was thinking about it as like it's a rookie or kick returner. Like you're not gonna like it's understandable that he made the mistake, but then I was talking to someone today about it, and it's like, oh wait, no, it is always as soon as that ball passes 10 yards, it's live on kickoff. That's
Wow.
always been the rule. So even in college, like it is it's a rough mistake because nothing
Mhm.
has changed, and I get that maybe you're expecting it to bounce out of the end zone or whatever, but it's still like you got to catch that football and like
Yeah.
get moving.
That's my mistake because I thought when it bounced in and then it goes into the end zone, it's just a touchback until the rule changed 2 years ago.
Oh, I guess that is different. Yes,
Okay.
if it doesn't come out of the end zone, but as soon as that ball or no, because it hit the ground outside of the end zone. If it hit the ground in the end zone, it wouldn't be live. But
Okay.
because it hit the ground
Okay.
outside of the end zone, it's live going into the end zone. So you have to catch it. That's
Okay.
the difference. Yeah. If it hits
Okay.
the ground in the end zone, it's touchback. They bring it out now. But if it hits before, it's live, even if it goes into the end zone. And I
Okay.
don't think that's changed.
Okay. Thank you for the
No
clarification.
problem.
I appreciate that.
It's
Yeah, it's very confusing. I didn't really understand it either. But, anyways, they can't run the football. The Steelers have always prided themselves on running the football effectively, and I hated Najee when he was there, but he was a great rusher of the football. You can always rely on him for 1,000 yards. We don't have that in Pittsburgh anymore, and so now that you don't have that, it's all on Aaron Rodgers. He's in shotgun all the time. The offensive line can't protect him. It's all on his shoulders, and you can't expect him to do that at the age of 41. He looks great over these first 2 weeks. I will admit that, better than what I expected. But Arthur Smith is asking him to do way too much because they just cannot run the football. And I just don't think Jalen Warren is your number one back. But this defense is pissing me off even more. I mean, the secondary looks incredible. Jalen Ramsey had a great pick off Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold threw it in a tight window and he missed. And Jalen Ramsey took full advantage of that. He blanketed that wide receiver really effectively. But the rushing defense is just terrible. Like you can't get any edge rush pressure. TJ Watt has been a non-factor over the last 2 weeks. Cameron Hayward has really pissed me off. You come in here asking for a contract extension after you had one last year. You're like 36 years old. You're close to retirement. You ask for an increase, you get it, and then you can't stop the run to save your life. Like it's inexcusable up the middle. Patrick Queen, who's a run-heavy linebacker who stuffs the run, he's looked awful over the last 2 weeks. It's just they can't stop the run. And Seattle was a team that going into last week couldn't run the football effectively, and now you made them look like an incredible rushing attack. And it makes no sense to me. So this defense is questionable. It's all on Aaron Rodgers to me. And Chris Boswell. Those are the two guys that you could rely on this team. But a kicker and a 41-year-old quarterback is just not going to cut it if you want to be contenders, which you so blatantly said in the offseason with the moves that you made.
yeah. I mean, with the Steelers, like they just didn't like I don't know. I don't understand the philosophy here because if you're running this Arthur Smith style of offense, which I guess maybe Aaron Rodgers has come in and overridden, but like they're not pounding the football the way that I would expect from the Steelers or just from an Arthur Smith offense. They're not running the play actions that you would expect. I think they're basically just saying, "All right, Aaron, go out there and make the plays." But like what is the point of trading so much for DK Metcalf if you're not going to throw him the football? Like
Yes.
Devin Witherspoon was out in this game. He completely like little broed Tariq Woolen in the end zone. Like, how is he not getting more targets in this game? I don't understand their offensive philosophy. I know Arthur Smith really is a guy who does not give a shit how good you are at football. He will just scheme people open and hope that like just spread the ball around a lot in his scheme. But I mean, it just like you traded so much for Metcalf. You trade away Pickens, who is younger and cheaper, to basically replace him with Metcalf, and you're not even giving him the football. You're not designing plays for him. Like, I just don't understand the philosophy there. I don't really understand what they did offensively. And I mean, defensively, it was kind of tough because, like, they didn't look great, but also they suffered a lot of injuries in this game. So, a little bit of a question mark there. But yeah, overall, not a great look for the Steelers. And I mean, for the Seahawks, I leave this game very confused because, I mean, week one, um, shout out to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast, but they were saying I think they ran 3 play action plays in Week 1 against San Francisco, which is like Clint Kubiak's bread and butter. That's what he did in San Francisco. That's what he did with the Saints, and then just came out last week, didn't do any of it. I'm honestly a little convinced that Shanahan, like he's too good of friends with Shanahan and couldn't beat him, or like was like scared to or something, and like tanked the game on purpose. But I digress. Anyways, like, and then they come out and it's the Clint Kubiak style you expect. I thought that I felt a lot better about the Seattle receivers after this game. I was really concerned after week one, but I mean, Cooper Cup is slow. I don't think he's a guy you can really trust in man coverage, but that's a guy who can still find the soft spot in the zone and make plays after the catch. Torrey Horton caught a touchdown in this game. I'm expecting him to get a bit more workload. And I mean, JSN looked good as always. So you had that passing game going. I mean, Sam Darnold still made that was a terrible interception, but you still have like weird play calling things. I think that Seattle's really conservative at times. They don't trust their offense to go out on 4th and 1s. There was a couple 4th and 1s in Pittsburgh territory that they didn't go for, and then the one they did go for, just run the damn ball. Like, what are you trying? What are you doing trying to pass a ball on 4th and 1? It gets completely blown up. It was a disaster. I thought they left some points on the board at times. I mean, there's a really short missed field goal at one of those 4th and 1s where maybe they should have gone. It was like a 30-yard field goal on 4th and 1 that Jason Myers missed. So I just thought like the philosophy wasn't fully there. It wasn't fully fleshed out. And I'm a little concerned about that, but I still think that defense is good. I thought they got a lot of really good pressure on Aaron Rodgers. They were able to stop the run for the most part. And I mean, I think this Seattle's going to have to lean on their defense, but they need to be able to run the ball too because they couldn't run the ball for a good chunk of this game. And Kenneth Walker in the second half looked really good running the football, but I'm concerned about that run game.
Yeah, you said it perfectly because I think this defense is incredible for Seattle. They are good on all fronts, including their secondary, which to me is probably their weakest spot at the moment. But I'd still think that they're really, really good in that department. Their defensive line is second to none. It's improved so catastrophically over the last 2 or 3 years here, where they can shut down the run, they can get pass rush pressure on the quarterback, and they just look really good. But offensively, like if you don't have JSN, you don't really have anything in this Seattle offense. And that's what really concerns me because JSN is a guy who is an elite wide receiver who can get extreme yards after the catch and he can get you into like scoring territory. But when it's time for red zone time, he's not really that guy that you can rely on. Who else is that guy? It was Torrey Horton on that crazy touchdown. I really like that touchdown catch by him, but like there's no rushing attack. Elijah Arroyo is the non-factor in this offense still. Cooper Cup is old, like Evan said. Like they're settling for field goals, and when they do have the lead, they're making boneheaded decisions because they can't run the football. So it's like what happens when JSN is out of the picture? To me, he's your entire offense, and when he's out of it, which he will be in those red zone opportunities because of his size and because of the play style that he plays. What are you gonna do? So I'm really concerned about Seattle as well. They had a really good win. Maybe it was a fluke play by that Caleb Johnson play, but you never know. I think they earned this win, but it's just gonna be tough on where they go forward and how the offense is structured from here.
Yeah, we're still it's still up in the air for both these teams. There's not a lot of conclusions we can come to really at this point. But let's move on to the next game here. We've got the Cowboys who win an absolute thriller against the New York Giants at home. I mean, this was possibly the best game of the week, Joseph.
Yeah, this was a great game, and let me start with the Cowboys here. They're kind of scaring me. I'm not gonna lie. Now it's not. I don't know. They look better than what I anticipated, and by the way the Commanders are looking, I think Dallas is the second best team in this division, and that kind of scares me on maybe they can make a playoff push, which I expected them to only win 5 games. But like, what's good to see the most is that they can run the football. Javante Williams in back-to-back games against really good defensive lines has looked really, really solid for them. I wasn't expecting that. I think he averaged like 5.7 yards a carry in this game, which is absolutely incredible. And Dak is going to do Dak things. He passed the ball for a ridiculous amount. He looked good. He stepped up in moments. That rushing first down that he got towards the end of the game or in overtime, I'm pretty sure, to get the game winning field goal. That was all balls. Dak never runs the football, and the fact that he has that in his arsenal now, I think, is really good to see. And he's getting CeeDee Lamb involved. He's getting Cavante Turpin involved as a gadget guy. Jake Ferguson caught a touchdown in this game. Everyone's getting involved. So I love it. I really like what the Cowboys are doing offensively. Defensively, they look like crap.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson looked incredible with like 450 passing yards, and we expected the defense to look terrible, even with Micah Parsons being there before he was traded. But this offense looks really good. And if they can get into shootouts and they have the best kicker in the entire NFL, they can win a lot of close games. So keep an eye out on the Cowboys. I know everyone hates them, and I'm not saying that they're going to do crazy things, but they're a team that went from, oh, they're going to get a top 10 pick to maybe they can sneak into the wild card and be in the hunt for the majority of the season. So because they can run the football and because that offense looks so good and can compete with any other offense, I'm keeping my eyes open for the Cowboys as maybe a sneaky team who can make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're the Bengals of last year in a lot of ways, where that offense is going to be really good. That's kind of what we expected. That defense, you got nothing. I mean, the run game is really impressive. I think that the investments they've made into that offensive line have really paid off, especially in the run game, because, like, I mean, Javante Williams isn't, I wouldn't say anything special necessarily as a running back, but that offensive line just opens up holes for him and he's able to get physical, get downfield. So you like what you see from that run game. I mean, for the Giants, it's just like, what the hell is going on, man? I mean, this defense, again, every single year, it
Yeah.
looks so good on paper, and then it's just an absolute, like, it's a piece of Swiss cheese. Like, it's terrible. Like, how do you have Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and I mean, you drafted Abdul Carter, and you can't rush the passer? Like, it doesn't add up to me. Like, it doesn't make sense how this defense is so bad, and like, I mean, the offense looks great, and it's really encouraging that they were able to get out there after a really disappointing offensive performance in week one and look better. But like, I'm not sold on Russell Wilson. I think that he played okay in this game, but that interception at the end of the game was just absolutely brutal. Like, I don't know where he was going with that football, completely into double coverage and right to the Cowboys, basically. Like, he's okay. I think he needs to play better overall. I really thought that Scatabo added some juice, so that's a guy that you might see a lot more featured in that offense in the run game. Malik Neighbors was Malik Neighbors in this game. Like, they have solid pieces. I just think that like the defense really worries me because they gave up a ton of points to the Commanders, a ton of yards to the Commanders, and then this week they gave up a ton of yards and a ton of points to the Cowboys. Like, you got to start stopping people defensively if you want any chance to be considered a serious threat in this league because you do not have the level of offense of some of these other teams. So I'm very concerned with the Giants going forwards. And I mean, if they could have snuck away with the win here, like, you definitely would be in a better spot, but you're 0-2 and there's these concerns. Like, I don't know what to do with this team.
Yeah, I have a lot of question marks too because the defense looks like they have no chemistry and they just look like so lost out there. Like their linebacking core is really good, headed by Bobby Okereke, and they have Dexter Lawrence up the middle. They use Kayvon Thibodeau in moments, and it's just like there's no rushing defense at all. And then the secondary looks completely lost. Guys were so wide open in this game, allowed the Cowboys to come back and get into field goal range for those two game tying and then game winning field goals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really tough. And then offensively, like Russell Wilson to me was too reliant on the deep ball, and it worked against this team. But like I know that's his bread and butter, but Russell Wilson was also good at maneuvering in the pocket, really getting guys open with his legs, and then buying time for his wide receivers to get rid of those corners. He's not doing that anymore. He's sitting in shotgun, he's planting his feet, and he's just chucking the ball deep. And it worked in this game, and Wandell Robinson had a huge game because of it. But Wandell Robinson isn't your number two wide receiver because he's just too deep ball dependent because all he uses is his speed. So when teams take away the deep ball, Cam Scatterbo looked okay, but he wasn't a tremendous rusher. They can't
Mm-hmm.
really run the football. What are you going to do if you're the Giants offense? So I think everyone's looking at it as, oh, Russell Wilson had a bounce back game. It's against the Cowboys. I'm not really taking any weight with that. So I am really disappointed in the Giants. I thought they would put it together this year, but it looks like a lot of individual play compared to a team who, I mean, they have a lot of talent, but they're just not a team. They're not cohesive enough. They just want to showcase their individuality, and because of that, they're losing these tough football games.
Yeah, we need to see that defense come out and look ferocious here and quick if the Giants want any chance to make the playoffs here. I mean, they have the hardest schedule in the league, so it's going to be a tough road here, but starting 0-2 against maybe a couple of your softer opponents, at least in the Cowboys, is not a good look. So we will see, but we'll move on here to the Indianapolis Colts, who at the buzzer, they miss a 60-yard field goal, penalties called. They kick a four. They gets moved up to the 45. They drill the 45-yard field goal and walk off against the Broncos. A 29-28 victory for the Colts.
Yeah, my Colts, man, 2-0. No one expected this except me. I'm just kidding. But I think that the Colts look complete. They look so
Yeah,
good. Jonathan Taylor was an incredible rusher of the football. And I think everyone wants to highlight Daniel Jones and his play, and rightfully so. But Jonathan Taylor, this is his team. The offense runs through him, and he is having an. I think this is going to be a historical year. 2020 was a historical year for him. He led the league in rushing. I think this year is going to be even better. I think Shane Steichen is going to use him more so. I think he's going to get, compared to like 15, 18 rushes a game, he'll get 20 to 22 rushes a game. I think the productivity and the increase in productivity is going to be so beneficial for this entire offense. And then Daniel Jones just looks so comfortable. He's using his legs effectively. He's going through his progressions, I think, so well. I think he was terrible at going through his progressions in New York, but he's just finding wide open guys. He has a favorite target in Tyler Warren, who had some big time catches in this game. And Daniel Jones is incredible in the red zone. Shane Steichen cooks up so many good plays in the red zone where you can get a rushing touchdown, which he had again this week, and they can just move the football down the field. They haven't punted once in the first 2 weeks of the season, which no other team has done, which is an incredible stat. And it just speaks to Daniel Jones and what he's done for this offense. And then I think defensively, they're all over the place. They didn't play a great game this game, but they got turnovers in big time moments, and they forced Bo Nix into some boneheaded decisions. And so I think those turnovers and those turning points, and they can get it. The Colts are legit, man. I seriously think this can be a dark horse team, and compared to the rest of the AFC South and how bad they've looked over the last 2 weeks, this is the Colts division. So I love what I've been seeing from the Colts.
yeah, I totally agree. That I think the defense honestly surprised me a little bit. I mean, what they did to the Dolphins last week was super impressive, and just like I mean, obviously the Broncos put up points, and this was a close game, right? Like the Broncos almost won, so like it wasn't like the Colts absolutely dominated, but you really like what you saw from them, and that defense was just able to really shut down some of these number one guys for the Broncos. I mean, Cortland Sutton had like 4 targets and only 1 catch in this game. Like he was a guy who just was shut down or on that side of the ball. So that's something you really like to see. They made it really hard for the Broncos. I thought this was an absolute slugfest from both teams here, and I mean they just didn't shy away from the moment the Colts did, and they went up Pat Surtain in some really critical moments and got the first downs they needed, got the yards they needed. So really impressive, and I mean it's a weird one because I mean you missed that 60-yard field goal. The Broncos win that game. Maybe it's a slightly different story, but at the same time, the Broncos messed up at the end of the game, and the Colts win, and they're 2-0, and they're looking really, really good in their division. So I like what I've seen from them. And then on the other side, the Broncos. I mean, this is definitely a really good bounce back game. I mean, the Colts are tough competition, and the Broncos came out really flat. I thought in Week 1 against the Titans. There, I mean, it was an 8-point game, but I mean, you keep this close. It came down to the wire. I thought Bo Nix, for the most part, played really well in this game. He started spreading out the ball, I think, which is good. I mean, Ingram got really involved in this game. Franklin was really involved. I mean, they just still don't have a run game, and that's really concerning. I mean, RJ Harvey was essentially a non factor in this game, and J.K. Dobbins didn't do much either. So I think that something they really need to figure out is that run game, and they need to figure it out fast because this is looking a lot like last year where it's all on Bo Nix's shoulders and their defense is pretty solid, but like you need a run game to complement that. So they need to figure that out because I think that it just changes what you can do. And I mean, it is pretty common historically for Sean Payton teams to come to the gate pretty slow. So we could see this team really pick it up, but that run game concerns me.
Yeah, that run game also concerns me. Not as much as you, Evan, just because I think it was a close game, and I think Sean Payton wanted to put the ball in Bo Nix's hands a little bit more than his rushing attack. That's where their primary source of offense comes from, and they wanted to use their best. And even though it was weird that they didn't target Cortland Sutton as much, that just speaks to the Colts and how they blanketed him in the passing game. But yeah, I think Bo Nix, he looks good for the most part. It's just kind of concerning to me that he looks a little bit too loose with the football. He's like making throws on the run. He's like throwing off his back shoulder a little bit. That's where the interception came from in Cam Bynum in a massive spot. I think that was a boneheaded move by Bo Nix and a throw that he didn't have to make. But like outside of that, he's playing more loose in the football, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because he had a really good game this week, but that interception really cost him. So I think last year you're playing more so in a system. You're trying to get the completion percentage way up. This year he's looking more deep down the field. He's trying to, hold the ball a little bit longer, get his wide receivers more open deep down the field. It's a little bit of a different style, nothing something I wasn't expecting from Bo Nix. So we'll see how it plays out. It didn't really bite them too much in the ass in this game, but it's a storyline to look forward to because when that defense isn't right, which it kind of wasn't right, it was a little bit shaky in this game. They didn't get any turnovers. They were giving up massive chunk plays to the Colts. What is the Broncos' counterattack to that? And if Bo Nix is going to be careless with the football and create these turnovers, then the Broncos have no shot to win these games.
Yeah, 100%. Let's move on to the last game we're going to chat about here. The Eagles, they managed to sneak by the Chiefs here. This was just an absolute slog of a game. I mean, 17-20 is the final score, and the Eagles come out on top. But yeah, it was just not necessarily sloppy football, but just very, very slow football.
Yeah, I want to take a nap during this game. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. It was just weird. Like you expected both of these teams to do exactly what they did out on the field. And with the Eagles, they just ran the football effectively. Jalen Hurts didn't really pass the ball. I thought on like key 3rd and 1 or like 3rd and 5 situations when Steve Spagnuolo brought the house, Jalen Hurts did a really good job of just throwing up a 50-50 ball to Devontae Smith. One time he didn't catch it, the other time he caught it on the goal line. And it's just like those moments like that where Jalen Hurts isn't asked to be the primary source of offense, but just to step up in those moments. It's really exciting to see him do that, especially with Dallas Goedert out of this game. I think the biggest storyline in this game was the tush push, and I kind of wanted to comment on that with the
Mm-hmm.
Eagles. It's like there's so many reports. It's like they won this game because of the tush push. It should have been banned. I think Adam Schefter said like this game was won in March when the NFL owners decided to keep the tush push, not today. It's like shut up, bro. Like, I refuse to see how the tush push should be banned in the NFL. Everyone's zooming in on the offensive line and saying how all of them are false starting before the ball is snapped, but it's like milliseconds and it's so minute that the refs can they're in that pile. They cannot be that close to the line of scrimmage, the refs can, and see that and call a 5 yard penalty. It's like a millisecond that we're talking about. And if you slow it down frame by frame, sure, it's offside, but like, who cares at that point? I mean, I don't see how you can ban the tush push because only one team is good at it. If one team has perfected it and the other 31 teams haven't, then what's the point of banning it? I mean, I don't think you should, punish a team for doing a great play and having an unstoppable play. I mean, you look at the Bills, they do the tush push a ton, but they're not as successful as the Eagles are because they don't have as good of an offensive line. They don't have as strong of a quarterback from the legs down. What are you supposed to do if you're any other defense? This is how the team was built. You can't punish a team for being successful at what they do, and this is the only team that can do it. If 30 of the teams were doing this and it was boring football, then sure, that's a different conversation. But the Eagles are the only team that can do this, and I don't think they should be punished because of it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, I mean, it's tough to officiate for sure, but like, I don't know. I think figure out a way around it. Like it's not like you don't know the Eagles are going to do this. And yeah, I agree. It's just like they're good at it and no one else is. Like you can't punish someone for that. Like it is what it is. And I mean, like there was so many other things. I just think the Chiefs look so flat offensively. Like there's just nothing really inspiring. There's no one making big plays. Like their run game isn't great. The pass game's really rough right now. Like Tyquan Thornton got targeted so many times in this game. Travis Kelsey looks terrible. Like Mahomes just has nothing around him at this point. And I mean, starting 0-2 is pretty brutal for them. They're still waiting on Rashee Rice to come back, but like if that's who you're running your offense through, like you're gonna be screwed because there's just nothing. Like you're gonna be middle of the road come whenever Rashee Rice comes back, and then you're just clawing your way into the playoffs. Like I don't like what I've seen from the Chiefs. They haven't really changed their philosophy at all, even though they said they were going to. Like they're worse, like much worse at running the football this year for the most part. They're like Kareem Hunt's their number one. Like I just really don't like what I see from the Chiefs offensively. And we knew that both of these teams had great defenses, and I mean, they both were good at defense and they just want to play. They played very similar styles of football in this game. And I mean, I think the Eagles are the better team. I mean, I'm going to harp on this again, but they need to figure out that pass game because Jalen Hurts, like, yes, he threw 22 passes in this game, but like under 200 yards. Like, we need to see him test that intermediate and deep level of the field more consistently, not just out of necessity, because you need to be able to have those plays in your bag and be comfortable running those plays. So I still need the Eagles to like run some pass plays, but at the same time, it's still working. They're still able to run the football and they still look super dangerous. So I'm not too worried about it, but yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs, I just don't know what you do with them because their defense is good, but it's not great, and their offense looks like an absolute disaster.
Yeah, the Chiefs are in really bad company right now because everyone wants to make excuses that they're injured, but Rasheed Rice and Xavier Worthy are not really that like game-changing wide receivers. They are because they have Mahomes as their quarterback and Andy Reid as their head coach. And so like the talent isn't really there for Worthy. He's not going to turn the game on his head, and Rasheed Rice has such a small sample size that he had an okay rookie performance, and then his second year he goes 6 games and then he's out with that injury. So I mean, those aren't your savers. You can't rely on that and say, "Oh, after Rasheed Rice serves his suspension and Xavier Worthy comes back, we're gonna get right." That's just not the case because last year they were so good at running the football, like Evan said, and this year they can't do it at all. And so Mahomes is trying to go deep, and he just doesn't have
It's
the
not
weapons to
working.
do
There's no
that.
one there.
Exactly. And even when Worthy and Rasheed Rice come back, I still don't think he has the weapons to
Rice
come
isn't
back.
a deep threat.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, what are you gonna do? Like, Travis Kelsey, brutal drop in the red zone. That's inexcusable on his end. Leads to an interception. Hollywood Brown, he's just in the short game. I think he's just an extension of their running attack. So, it's brutal, man, because this defense is getting older. Steve Spagnuolo can only do so much with his scheme. And then offensively, like, if you can't run the football, you can't do anything. This is not a talented football team. They remind me so much of the Washington Commanders, an old defense and an offense who's just relying on their quarterback to make a play. But how do you expect Mahomes to be under pressure, throw on the run, and throw a beautiful deep ball to a guy like Tyquan Thornton? He did it for 50 yards for that touchdown, but he can't do that consistently. That's way too much to ask of one person and one human being, and I think it's ridiculous. So the Chiefs, this might be the end of the road. We'll see how it goes and how Mahomes' legacy is impacted after this year, but I'm raising the red flag for sure.
Yeah, and I mean maybe this is just a thing of like missing players, but like Hollywood Brown should be a deep threat. Like that's what he was with the Cardinals. That's what he was with the Ravens. Like I don't know why you're not sending him deep down the field. That's like where he made the biggest plays. Like yes, I mean I guess maybe it's just because you don't have the guys right now, but like when Rasheed Rice comes back, I feel like you got to put Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy as your deeper down the field options, and then Rice essentially becomes your like intermediate middle guy and replaces Travis Kelsey in a lot of ways. Like I do think that it'll make the offense more cohesive, but like I don't know if they can survive to that point. And at that, I still don't know how they're gonna look like that. That's a plan, but is that actually gonna happen? I'm not a huge Xavier Worthy guy, and like we still need to see it in action. So I just really don't trust this Chiefs team. Like the Mahomes magic is not working the same way it has in other years. I mean, he had that like absurd throw against the Chargers last week, but it's not like ending in the same results as that kind of stuff was like even a year ago. So I just like they're not, and I mean this is what should have happened. They won so many games by one score or less in the last year and a bit. So this is kind of what you expect to happen, the regression to the mean, but they look a little lost right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. That does it for week 2. I don't know, man. The Sunday night was pretty brutal, and
Yeah.
Monday night was pretty brutal. So we're gonna skip over all those games. We don't need to talk about them, and we're gonna jump right into Week 3. We've got the Dolphins Bills on Thursday night, Joseph.
Why is this a Thursday night football game? It was one last year, and Tua had a concussion case, and it's just like,
Don't fall forward this year, too.
yeah, you knew this was going to be a bad game even
Yeah,
before the season. I'm taking the Bills. The Dolphins are a complete head case. The Mike McDaniel's quotes are ridiculous. Tyreek Hill got involved in the offense last week against the Patriots, but to no avail because the Patriots just whoop them. That defense is horrible. Tua is not looking like a good quarterback. I'm shocked by the last 2 weeks and what Tua's been able to do because he's been able to do literally nothing. And I mean, he gave you somewhat of competent quarterback play over the last 6 years that he's been in the NFL, but this time it's like he's healthy and there's no excuses now, and he looks terrible. So there's nothing. The Bills are gonna whoop them. The Bills look really, really good this year. They look really good against the Jets, and this is gonna be a no-brainer Thursday night football win for the Bills.
still don't know him in your top five. So. Um, yeah, no, this is an easy win for the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen is Josh Allen, and I mean, he didn't even play that, or he didn't have to. Not that he didn't play good last week, but he didn't have to do a lot against the Jets for them to get that 30-point score and win that game pretty decidedly. So I think you feel really good about the Bills going into this game. The Dolphins, I mean, they looked bad against the Patriots, who aren't that good of a team, and they looked bad against the Colts. So like, I just like the Bills are as good as the Colts, if not better, and they're significantly better than the Patriots. So I don't really see how the Dolphins have a chance. Their defense is atrocious, and the Bills should get a pretty easy win in this game. It is in division, but I still really don't see the Dolphins doing anything really to keep close in this game. And I mean, this could be the end of Mike McDaniels, Joseph.
I hope so.
Like, I mean, if you get absolutely slaughtered by the Bills in prime time, you're 0-3, and if there looks like there's no hope, I mean,
This could be the end of Tua too, because if they have
yeah.
a terrible record, like, and they have so many pieces to build around, you got to start with the quarterback at some point. So if they get a high enough draft pick, this could be the end of Tua too.
The Tua and Brock Purdy reckoning is coming. I'm just telling you. But honestly, the rest of Thursday night football this year isn't too bad. At least the next couple weeks. Seahawks, Cardinals next week. I mean, that's a little bit of a homer pick, but it's not a bad game. I'd say it's okay. They're interesting teams. Rams, 49ers the next week. That's well, Purdy plays. I mean, Mac Jones looked good. That's not bad. Got Eagles, Giants. That could be a good game. They're looking a lot worse, man. They're getting worse. Eagles, Steelers is. I mean, they looked exciting going into the season. Bengals, Steelers. Now that Burrow's out, Vikings Chargers. That'll be interesting. Okay. Ravens. Okay. No, I was wrong, man. Just when I thought Thursday night football was turning it around with Packers Commanders, I've been duped. I was looking through it before and I was like, these look okay, but now as things are falling into place here, it is rough. But it is what it is. It's Thursday night football for a reason. They usually get the shitty games. But next up, Joseph, your Steelers play the Patriots.
I'm taking the Patriots. I did not like what I saw from the Steelers one bit. I thought Drake May looked incredible against the Dolphins. He had a bounce back game, and you know what? He looked incredible against the Ravens. I mean, the Steelers have a better defense than both those teams, but I just don't trust their rushing attack. I expect Travion Henderson to be a beast out of the backfield. I expect Ramondre Stevenson to also have a big role in this game. And then offensively for the Steelers, I think Mike Vrabel is going to find a way to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers, force him into some really tough throws, and he can make it, but can his receivers catch the football? That's the question, and they just can't run the football. So I'm taking the Patriots. I think they're the better team defensively as well as offensively, and I like them a lot better on paper than I do the Steelers this week.
I've got the Steelers. I'm giving them one more chance. The Jets game was very promising, but more and more, I think after last week, it looks like Aaron Rodgers was just incredibly motivated, and now he's back to normal Aaron Rodgers the last couple years. So I'm giving him one more chance. If Aaron Rodgers looks good in this game, you know they have a chance. But we need to see some more pressure of the defense. I really think that this defensive line has a chance to wreak some havoc. I'm still not sold on the overall Patriots offensive line. I mean, Will Campbell's a good tackle, but I'm pretty sure TJ Watt plays on the other side anyways, so not going to be that much of a factor against him. So I think that if they can stop that run game and put it all on Drake May, I think he can make some mistakes. I still do really like the Steelers secondary for the most part. I think there's just not a lot of receivers. Like the Steelers have veteran cornerbacks, so I think can keep up with these receivers. It's going to be hard Drake May to have open receivers. He's going to have to put balls in very tight windows. So I've got the Steelers in this one. I think it's going to be close. It could be a sloppy game, but I just think that the Patriots are still up and coming, and the Steelers are going to be, I think, a little bit more desperate for this win, and honestly, like, need to look better this week if they have any chance of making the playoffs. All right, next up, Raiders versus Commanders.
Yeah, I'm taking the Raiders. I did not like what I saw from the Raiders on Monday Night
Oh
Football.
God,
Geno
man.
Smith looked
Did
horrible.
you see that graphic where it was like
Oh,
Geno Smith 10 plus air yards, 0 for 10 and 3 interceptions? It was a rough game, man, especially
rough
for a guy like me who
game.
needed 21 points out of Brock Bowers.
Yeah, that it was terrible. Terrible. They can't run the football either. Ashton Genty looks like a shell of himself. I think everyone's harnessing down on the run and harnessing down on Brock Bowers, and those are the only two guys that they can really have elite presence at the running back and tight end position. So, but I'm taking them just because I think they're going up against a much lesser defense compared to the Chargers last week with the Commanders this week, and I just don't trust Jaden Daniels on the other side of the football to rush the football effectively with his PCL strain, and I think they're just going to blanket the field with those short to intermediate routes, and I think the Raiders are going to pick up on it really quickly. So I trust the Raiders offense a little bit more even after last week, and I trust this Raiders team as a whole.
I've got the Commanders. I hated what I saw from the Raiders last night, man. That was horrendous football. I mean, good lord. I mean, I think they're going to play better than that, but that was awful. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Commanders team overall. We talked about that a lot, but I just think that the Raiders do not have the guys defensively to really like put Jane Daniels under a lot of pressure, under a lot of duress, make him run around and stuff. Like I think Daniels can sit in the pocket pretty comfortably in this game. He's going to be able to dish out the football. They don't really have a guy who's going to be able to stick with Terry McLaurin. I think that you're going to be able to get Debo Samuel some big yards on some of these designed runs. Like I just think that I trust Jaden Daniels to get the football down the field and score some points, even if he's a little hobbled. And I really just don't trust Geno Smith because I think the Commanders really can key in on that run game. They like to do that. Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu, if not the greatest like pass coverage linebackers, are great against the run. And if they stop that run game, and I mean that Raiders offensive line is not that good. I think that like they can get some pressure on Geno. If you make him start having to make plays down the field, he seems to be making a lot of mistakes this year so far. So I think the Commanders have got this one. I think it'll be a bit closer than maybe we would have thought at the start of the year, but I don't know, man. The Raiders really that was like disgusting. It was horrendous. So they even the Commanders hobbled and like coming off a loss to the Packers. Like I don't know, man. I can't see the Raiders winning. All right, next up we've got the Rams at the Eagles.
I'm taking the Rams in this game. You know what? They look good. They're my pet team a little bit, so I'm taking the Rams. I think that they can somewhat take away the rushing attack, and I know they were terrible at it last year, but they've looked really promising over the last couple weeks at stopping the run. So no one can stop the Eagles' rushing attack, but I think the Rams can try. And then on the other side of the football, I think that they are good on all facets. They're getting Puka Nakua him going in a big time way. They're using Kyron Williams in moments. You'd like to see a little bit more from him and a little bit more um, weight in this offense, but at the same time, it's going through Nakua. Devontae Adams is finding his spots. Matthew Stafford is putting the ball on the money every single throw. So I think yeah, the Eagles can come in this game and just like do what they did in the divisional round last year, which is just keeping it close. And when it's close, they're going to ask Jalen Hurts to throw the football a little bit more. And they're also going to ask Matthew Stafford to do that a little bit more. And I trust Stafford as a quarterback more so than I do Hurts in those moments and based off what I've saw the last 2 weeks. So I'm taking the Rams based off quarterback play. And I think it's going to be a really, really close game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this one. This is a good game. The Rams last year could not stop the run and got absolutely picked apart by Saquon Barkley and that Eagles run game. Is that going to happen again this year? I don't think so. We haven't really seen Saquon, hit that stride. So this could be the game where Saquon really explodes and hits that next level. So look out for that. But I've got the Eagles in this one. I just think that they're my number one team in the league right now. I have no reason to kind of change that. And I think they've got it in this one. I mean, they're going to be able to like hold on to the football for a long time, even if they're not necessarily gashing the Rams like they did last year. Just those long drives are so hard to come back from. And I think that like passing the football is going to have to be key for this our Eagles team because that is where the Rams are the weakest. And Jalen Hurts is going to have to make some plays in this game. But I really just think keeping the ball out of Stafford's hands, out of the Rams offense, it's his hands, is going to be the key to victory. And the Eagles are phenomenal at just having these like 6 minute drives, 8 minute drives. And I think that it's going to be close. It might be a bit of a slog because the Eagles make people play the way they play. But if they can just keep the ball out of the Rams' hands for a good chunk of this game and just have these long drives, I think the Eagles can win this. All right. Next up here, we've got the Broncos versus Chargers. Another fun divisional matchup here.
Yeah, I love it. I'm taking the Chargers in this game pretty comfortably. Justin Herbert's in the zone, man. Like, I don't care what defense he's going up against. He's going up against the best defense in the league this week, but I don't care because Justin Herbert, what I saw over the last 2 weeks in the Raiders, and I know it's the Raiders, but his accuracy is just incredible. He's so comfortable in the pocket. I mean, he put the ball 50 yards down the field to Quentin Johnston on that touchdown, and he hit him in stride. Like, Johnston did not break stride once on that throw, and it's just like, yeah, he's feeling himself right now. And the running attack is a little bit of a concern for me with the Chargers. Justin Herbert led the team in rushing again this week against the Raiders. They have to get that rushing game going, but for now, like, Justin Herbert is on another trajectory. He's my early pick for MVP at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I've loved what I've seen from him, and I think Bo Nix has looked a little bit suspect against really bad defenses. I mean, I'm high on the Colts defenses, but they're not like a household defense. To me, the Chargers are that. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to find a way to get him to make some mistakes, take away Cortland Sutton, take away this already desecrated run game, and just make Bo Nix look kind of lost out there. So for those reasons, I'm taking the Chargers pretty comfortably in this division matchup.
I like it, Joseph. I've got the Broncos in this one. The Broncos are kind of my pet team going into this season. I mean, they looked, it was a rough game week one, but they won. Very, very close loss. They could easily be 2-0 right now. So I've got them against the Chargers. I just like, there was some things about that game last night that really worried me. I think that the Chargers not being able to run the football against that Raiders front is really concerning because the Broncos have a much better front seven than the Raiders. And if you're putting the ball in Justin Herbert's hands, that's definitely not a bad thing. He's a guy who can make plays, but they just have much better corners and matchups to kind of hold these guys in check, I think. I mean, like Jade Barron against Lad McConkey in the slot's going to be a really fun matchup. We're going to get to see Pat Sertan on Quentin Johnston or Keenan Allen here. And I think that honestly, if the Broncos can just hold that like Johnston deep ball in check, it's going to be really tough sledding for the Chargers. Their run game has been really shaky, and I think that like Bo Nix, it's going to be tough. These are two really good defenses, but I just think that like I guess it's tough. The run game for the Broncos is also an issue, as I mentioned, but I just think that you're going to be able to like the defense. I trust more for the Broncos right now. I think they have better matchups. You can stop Herbert on some of this, stop this run game, and then Bo Nix just has to make a couple plays down the field here. I trust him against that a bit of a softer passing defense for the Chargers. That's definitely their weak spot. Chargers are also probably missing Khalil Mack in this game. That was a pretty rough elbow. I'm assuming dislocation. I don't know if that's actually officially come out, but if you look at the video, it looks like a dislocation. So they're missing their top edge rusher there. So I think the Broncos just are going to come in there, get some big shots down the field, and come out of here with a win. But I don't know, man. This is going to be a fun game, too.
It'll
There's
be
some good
fun.
games this week.
Yeah.
All right. Next up here, we've got the Bears versus the Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cowboys pretty comfortably in this game. Caleb Williams looked awful. The whole offense looked off. The whole team looked awful against the Lions. I kind of want to say it's a write-off game, but I kind of don't at the same time because I mean, Caleb Williams just looks like that interception he threw was brutal. Classic Caleb Williams out of the pocket, trying to make a play work and it just doesn't work. And so I think this can be an offensive shootout, and I think that's plays in the Cowboys' favor. I think Caleb Williams is prone to make more mistakes than Dak Prescott will, and I think that Dak Prescott will always try and score the football. And if the Lions can do it, I think the Cowboys can do it to a certain extent. I think they can drop 30 points in this game, and I don't think the Bears can get to 30 points in this game. So it's going to be a race to that 30-point mark to me. And I just trust the veteran presence of Dak Prescott. I trust this offense who can run the football better than the Bears can, a little bit more than the Bears. And I mean, Ben Johnson and these Bears going 0-3 is something you definitely don't want to do, especially against the Cowboys. So this is must-win territory, but I don't think it's going to happen, and I think the Cowboys are going to surprise a lot of fans with a 2-1 victory.
It pains me, man. I have to choose the Cowboys. I think I'm 6 weeks away from having to admit I'm wrong. I think on Caleb Williams. Not been a good first two games. I think the first game of the season, to be fair, I don't think Caleb Williams played bad,
No,
but
I agree.
against the Lions, rough look, not a good game from him, and we need to see him bounce back. And I think that like him playing a pretty terrible defense here is a game where if he is who some people think he is, who I think he should like light up this building. So I'm going with the Cowboys because I just do not trust that to happen. I do not feel like the Bears have it figured out offensively, and I just think the Cowboys do. I think that they're going to be able to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. They're going to be able to run the ball, and I think it's just going to be more consistent. The Cowboys are going to be able to score just a bit more easily, and the Bears might be able to keep up, but I don't know if they're going to. Like, I just think there's going to be some stupid mistakes because it just doesn't feel like it's all been figured out yet. So I've got the Cowboys in this one, which makes me sad, man. I love Caleb. I really want him to succeed here, but it's just not cohesive yet. All right. Next up, we've got the Chiefs versus the Giants. The battle of the 0 and 2s.
I'm taking the Giants because I've hated what I've seen from the Chiefs, and I somewhat liked what I saw from the Giants, even though it was against a really bad defense. But I think the Chiefs are just a really bad team, and I think more talent favors the Giants, which I know is crazy to say, but I'm not going to trust pedigree and like what they've done, and they've been here before because they haven't been here before. They haven't started 0-2, I think, since like 2017. I'm pretty sure. So before Mahomes was there, so they've never been here before. And I just think that the Giants are a more talented football team. Russell Wilson is going to find a way to use Malik Neighbors in a big time way. I think he's had enough time to get that deep ball right, and I think he'll have enough time again this week. And with the Chiefs, I think they just can't run the football. So as long as the Giants find a game plan to take away the deep shot, which is a lot easier to do than stopping the run, in my opinion, in NFL scheme defenses, then I think the Giants should have no problem winning this game. There's been a little bit more promise from the Giants side than there have been in the Chiefs. And I know the Chiefs have gone up against incredible football teams the first 2 weeks of the season, but I think the Chiefs last year would have found a way to make themselves 2-0 in a one-score game, and the fact that they didn't really concerns me, and that's why I'm going with the Giants.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs in this one. I mean, it's annoying, but I just like the Chiefs. I can't see them going 0 and 3. It would be insane if they went over 0 and 3, and I just like Russell Wilson balled out against I think is a pretty terrible Cowboys defense, and he looked absolutely horrendous week one against a pretty average to below average Commanders defense. So I really think the Chiefs defense is good enough to really give Russell Wilson fits, make the Giants make some mistakes. I still don't think that Giants offensive line is good. They're gonna get Russell Wilson under pressure, and I think that under pressure for Russell Wilson means he's going to make mistakes. They're going to capitalize off it. Even if the Chiefs offense doesn't look great in this game, I really just think that the Giants are just going to make mistakes offensively. Russell Wilson I don't think is going to look too good in this game, and the Chiefs are going to get a probably ugly victory as most of their victories are.
Mm.
All right, and last up, another fantastic game, man. Week 3 has some juice, Joseph.
Yeah.
Hope you're able to watch these games
Mm.
live, man. Lions Raven.
I'm taking the Ravens pretty comfortably. Yeah, I just think that anytime Lamar Jackson plays an NFC team, I'm taking Lamar Jackson every single time. I think he's only lost to like the Giants once. That's the only time in his entire career. So that's why I'm picking the Ravens. But more than that, I just think their defense looked incredible, and I know it's against the Browns, but if you can put pressure on Jared Goff with which the Bears failed to do last week, then you can wreak some serious havoc on this Detroit offense, specifically that offensive line. I think they can shut down the run with Roquan Smith and Matabike. I know it's not Justin anymore. He tripped me up a little bit. But anyways, those guys in the middle can take away David Montgomery, take away Jameer Gibbs. I think that they have the talent to combat Detroit's incredible talent on offense as well. And then defensively for the Lions, I just think that they're no match. They have no really good solid linebacker help to shut down Derrick Henry in this run game. And I just don't think their secondary is good enough to, blanket these wide receivers, and I think they're going to have a lot of wide open space to work with, and it's going to be easy pitch and catch for Lamar Jackson, play action off of it, and Lamar is just going to have a field day. So I think this is going to be a comfortable win. It might be a blowout potentially, and I'm taking the Ravens against this Detroit Lions team who's looking a little suspect heading into week 3.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. One, the last time these teams played, the Ravens absolutely undressed them, and they're not that different from where they were those couple years ago. I mean, two teams, like two very good powerhouse kind of teams at that point, and the Ravens just completely showed the Lions who was Big Daddy in that game. And I mean, I don't know. I like the Ravens. I like what you said, Joseph. I've got them in this game too. I think they're just more complete. I really don't think the Ravens are a team that's gonna like go out there and lose to one of these better teams in the league, especially two times in the first 3 weeks. Like that's just not the kind of like that's just not in their DNA. So I think they're going to come out there. They're going to be able to run the football. Lamar has looked just perfect through the first 2 weeks of the season so far. So I think that they're going to be able to just absolutely dice up this Lions defense, even if it is maybe a bit healthier and stuff. But I mean, and then on the other side of the football, I need to see it, man. Like the Bears, who knows what the Bears are at this point? They're a complete mystery to me, and most likely they just suck. But like the Lions got absolutely undressed by the Packers in week 1. Like how is the Ravens are a lot more in the realm of the Packers, like just skill level wise, than they are in the realm of the Bears. So I want to see the Lions. They need to prove it in this game, and that's part of the reason I got the Ravens. I trust the Ravens. You know what they are, and the Lions you still don't really know what they are. We need to see them. I mean, it was a really nice bounce back against the Bears, but we need to see them like at least be competitive against a top tier team if we're going to believe in them having a chance to go deep in the playoffs. So I've got the Ravens so far. I really like what I've seen from them in or in all of the games so far. So yeah, give me Lamar. All right. Just one more thing I want to bring up too. How is Chiefs Giants Sunday Night Football game, man?
I don't know, bro.
Eagles Rams is an 11 a.m. game this week. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Right now, it's
that should have been
God.
prime time.
I mean, I get it that it's like a big market in New York and then the Chiefs, but like, I mean, put that in the 2 o'clock window and put that Eagles Rams game in prime time. Like, even before the season, you knew that that was going to be big time football. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, they always I know the NFL does this a ton, but they'll always try and get every 32 teams into a primetime slot and that just boosts revenue for them, but like
I mean, they
it's
get
got
the
to get to
Giants into prime time like 4 times a year. It's
yeah, exactly.
ridiculous.
It's got to get to a point where it's like you have to put the best games where the best games are.
Yeah.
It's
I
inexcusable.
mean,
So yeah.
even having the Rams and Eagles, regardless of them not being in prime time at 11 a.m.,
Mhm.
like that's where you put all the garbage.
Yeah.
Like that's the games that it's like, oh, you care about this if you're a fan, but it's not an actual like
Yeah.
good game. That should at least have been a 2 o'clock game. So bad move by the schedule makers there, but we'll move on. Joseph, what's your lock of the week this week?
My
You're
lock of the
1-1.
week is Ravens over the Lions. I
I
know it's
like it.
a pretty big matchup, but I just trust Lamar Jackson to step up against NFC competition, like I said, and he's just looking like an MVP candidate yet again. And he's like the Nikola Jokic of the NFL, where you just know he's going to be the best player in the entire NFL on a consistent basis, and he's going to have an incredible team. And I think Derrick Henry is going to have a bounce back week. He wasn't asked to do anything last week, but I think just rushing the football, and I know the Lions are good at stopping the run, but this is Derrick Henry that we're talking about, and I think he will find a way to slice this defense open, and then they can just play action off of that and have a field day. So the Lions offense won't be able to keep up because of that shaky offensive line. I think the Ravens can blow out the Lions.
I like it. I've got the Eagles over the Rams. I'm
Wow.
0-2. I'm struggling, man. Tough. I mean, that Broncos game was close last week,
Hmm.
but it happens. Anyways, yeah, Eagles. I mean, just give Saquon the ball. Jalen Hurts make some plays deep down the field, and I think they've got this one in the bag. I trust that defense. They're the best team in the league to me still at this point. I think that like the Rams look good, but I think they have some clear holes where the Eagles just really don't have any. like deficiencies in my mind, and I think that like I don't know, give AJ Brown more than like one catch and you should be fine. So I really like the Eagles in this game, and please give me a victory. Will me a victory. All right, and then our top five best balls, Joseph.
Yeah, so my list is actually
I don't
almost
think
the
it
exact
changed. I don't
same.
think ours either of our lists changed this
Wow.
week. So
My 5 and 4 switched. So at number
okay,
5 I got the Chargers and number 4 I got the Colts. The Colts were 5 last week, the Chargers were 4. The reason I switched it is just because I'm really hesitant about that rushing attack from the Chargers, and the ability or the inability to run the football is really concerning to me, because maybe Justin Herbert doesn't have a monster year like we're all predicting. What happens if they can't rely on the run? But I mean, Justin Herbert to me is the MVP of the league this year, very easily, because he just looks incredible. He's in a nice headspace right now. He's just putting the ball on the money, and he's the reason why they're winning these football games. And he played two really good teams, in my opinion, and they're both division opponents. He's going up against a division opponent in week 3. If he can go 3-0 in the division, the sky's the limit for the Chargers. Number 4, I have the Colts because they are better at rushing the football than the Chargers are. I think Jonathan Taylor is an incredible running back who's going to have a breakout year this year, just like he did in 2020. And that defense really stepped up. They're not the best defense in the world, but they come up in precarious opportunities and they just get turnovers at the perfect time. And Daniel Jones looks really, really good. He's great at dissecting the defenses, looking at who is open, who's not open, and I just love what I've seen from his progression and his ability to be a competent quarterback in the NFL. Number 3, I have the Ravens. They bounced back big time against the Bears. Sorry, not the Bears, the Browns. Defensively, they looked incredible. Scoop and score by Roquan Smith was a pivotal point in this game, and they just made the Browns look like a shell of themselves after they thought they could beat the Bengals in week 1, and they just have every single thing available to them. Number 2, I have the Eagles. They still can't pass the football. That's why they're not number 1, but they have one of the best defenses in the entire NFL, but one of the best offensive lines in the entire NFL. I trust their rushing attack. That tush push is unstoppable, and it's what makes them one of the best teams in the entire league. And then number 1, I have the Packers. I just trust the Packers passing game more. That's why I had them number 1 last week. That's why I have them number 1 this week. This is a complete football team. I see no holes on this entire team. Maybe offensive line, but I think that's combated by the ability to rush the football at an elite level and pass the football at an elite level. And Micah Parsons just makes this team so dangerous and just gives them the juice that they need to potentially make a Super Bowl run this year. So that's my top 5.
I like it, Joseph. For me, I've got the Chargers at number five. Like you said, Joe. I mean, just no real holes. The run game's a bit of a concern, but that pass game's elite. Joe. Oh my God, Justin Herbert is playing at an MVP level, and that defense looks just as good as last year. Number four, I have the Bills. I mean, they've put up 70 something points in the first 2 weeks. Josh Allen looks as good as ever, and that defense, honestly, really stepped up in week 2. I mean, the Jets put up a lot of points on the Steelers, and they really couldn't get anything going. So I really like the Bills right now. At number three, I've got the Ravens, I believe. Or no, I've got the Bills over the Ravens, excuse me. Number four is the Ravens, just because the Bills beat them. But the Ravens I like. I mean, they bounced back really nice in week 2 here. We're going to see what they do against the Lions, but they seem like such a complete team. Like I said, three, the Bills. Number two is the Packers. I mean, this team again looks really good. They played a little bit of sloppy football at times in that Thursday night game, but they're so complete. The defense finally has caught up with the offense. It's not all in Jordan Love anymore, and they have weapons, they have a run game, and they have a great defense. So, what more could you really ask for? And then the Eagles at number one. I just can't move them out of there because they haven't lost a game yet, and I still think they're an incredible team. I mean, no holes. You can throw the football when you need to. They need to get a bit better at that, but the run game is there. The offensive line is there. That defense is there. I mean, Jahad Campbell falling to them is nasty. If Jalen Carter can
Yeah.
play full games and not get or not get kicked out after one play, they should be in a good spot there. So I still think the Eagles are the best team in the league, and until they lose a game here, I don't think I can knock them out of that first spot.
Nice.
All right, that does it for the ball watchers here. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode on Tuesday as usual. So stay tuned for that. We'll recap this week of football, week 3, and preview week 4. Thanks for tuning in on the stream if you did today. And if not, you can check it out later on YouTube at Ball Watchers. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Ball Watchers Pod. We post lots of clips and stuff over there. So give us a follow, and leave us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you use. You can share this with people you think would be interested, but we'll be here next Wednesday. So we'll talk to you then, ball watchers. Stay up.